Hello friends and welcome to the channel. I'm Dr. Mohsen Raj. I'm a DM cardiology student at AIIMS Delhi. This video is, of course, it will be very useful to all of you students who are preparing for exams because we are in the middle of a pandemic. Our colleges, our schools, our coaching centers are all closed. You will have your online access to your study material and you have all the time. That's the most valuable thing that you have now. And in this video, I'll share some of the strategies that worked for me in the previous lockdown that helped me to get 3 All India rank 1s. Okay, so number one thing, it'll be about 10 strategies. Please watch the video till the end and so that you get to know all these 10 strategies. Number one is to break down things, big things into smaller things. See, we have books that are thick. We have the syllabus which is so bulky. But instead of focusing on the bulk, I suggest you take a big sheet of paper or a document and note down the list of the topics that you have to read for one day. And then at the end of the day, you just mark the topics that you've read. That's all you care about. Don't worry about the bulk of the book. Worry about that one-page document, the list of the topics that you have to finish today. So break it down. Take some seniors' help, find the most important topics, write them down on a paper, finish that in one day. Okay? And second important thing here is to keep one major source. Keep one big book, one major book for a subject. Don't read simultaneously from 3-4 books. You will lose your focus. You won't be able to complete even one of them. Okay? The second strategy is very important. I follow it very strictly. It's called time blocking. So you have to find your block of focus, your time block of focus. For me, the best time was 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. So every day find a 3-hour block, or maybe 2 hours may work for you, a 3-hour block of time where you block this particular time for a particular task. In this case, it will be some subject, it will be a topic. Okay, and those 3 hours you're away from the distractions of the world. You're away from the distractions even by your family members. You're just alone in your room or wherever you prefer to study. You're alone, away from the social media distractions. Those 3 hours are your prime time. And during that 3-hour window, no multitasking. It is about pure focus. Now, why I follow this 3-hour schedule and I recommend the same instead of that famous Pomodoro technique of maybe 25 minutes studies and then 5 minutes of break. Now imagine yourself in an exam room. Imagine yourself in your final exam in your AIIMS entrance or something like that, in your NEET PG or NEET UG. You're given a 3-hour paper. You cannot say that after 25 minutes I have to take a 5-minute of break, or after 55 minutes I have to take a 10-minute of break. That's not possible. So prepare in a way you have to face the actual exam on that most important day. That's my rule. That's how I follow, and that if it works for you, that's great. Now, why this 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. window worked for me? Because at 9 a.m. I was done with a 3-hour study. That's a huge thing. If you follow this every single day, at 9 a.m. you have already read for 3 hours. And if you have just one block, similar 3-hour block, any other time in that day, you have already studied 6 hours. So if you take these blocks of 3 hours and do 2 or 3 blocks each day, that means you get to do 6 to 9 hours a day. And if you do that every day, that's a huge amount of hard work. That's more than enough for you to crack any exam. The third thing is there are smart ways to learn. See, every time you revise, you don't have to take out the same book, read that cover to cover, highlight it, then highlight it with a different pen. No, that's not an effective way of learning. The most important ways would be something like an active recall. Maybe it's time to get your question papers, get your practice papers, get your mock tests, read the questions. If you are able to answer it, great, you know the idea. If you fail to answer a question, go back to the book, read the concept and retain it for your lifetime. So when you fail to do a practice question, so you actively recall that concept and you're not able to recall it, And that very moment, you fill that void in your mind, you fill that void in your brain and fill it with that particular concept that stays there for a longer time. You build a framework in your mind on which you put on the things. You try to solve a question, you're able to do it, great. You have reinforced that very fact in your mind. Yes, you know this concept. Or when you solve a question, you fail to solve a question, you know there's a void, there's a space in your brain that needs to be filled with new material, fill it that very moment. Exams, tests, mock tests are beautiful ways of reading. So instead of fearing a mock test, that's a beautiful opportunity to learn and revise things. So learn smart. Fourth important strategy is make your studies enjoyable. If you prefer to read in library, go to the biggest library you know in your neighborhood. Go to the most beautiful library you know in your neighborhood, okay, or in your college. If you prefer to read from an iPad, get the best one. Maybe I always recommend some higher versions. Maybe buy an iPad Pro, enjoy the journey. If you prefer a monitor, I am a fan of big monitors. See, I work on my big 32-inch 4K monitor because I love it. I love the experience. I want those 3 hours to be as beautiful a time, as pleasurable a time as possible. Okay? If you are very fan of your study desk, make it beautiful. Just decorate it with things, or try to just make it the way it suits you. If you prefer the standard book, a standard notebook, get the best varieties, get the best quality pens so that you enjoy that writing experience. So your tools are your maybe iPads, your laptops, your notebooks, your pens. So get the best versions of your tools so that you enjoy that experience. Have some hobby. After you studied 6 hours or 9 hours or 12 hours a day, you need to have something as a bonus to you. Maybe in an evening, I prefer to do it in an evening. A hobby that you spend your half an hour or 1 hour and get your mind in a different state. It is not a wastage of time. It is sort of a time that your brain relaxes and regains that energy that you can focus on another block, maybe late in the evening or in the night. Take timely breaks. Do not go to the state of burnout. You cannot work without breaks. I used to follow it, a free day in every 2 weeks. A free day every week is also okay. As long as you study for 6 to 8 or 8 to 12 hours every other day, 1 day a week or 1 day every 2 weeks is important for you to relax. It's important for you to do some other things. Maybe you have a hobby of playing video games. Play it for the whole day. Maybe you have a hobby of going out with friends. Go out with your friends. Maybe spend a weekday with your family. So take adequate breaks. Take timely breaks. This will rejuvenate your mental muscle, your mental ability. Do not miss sleep. Never try to compromise on your sleep. Don't sleep for less than 7 hours. 7 hours is minimum no matter what. Okay, so don't think that you will buy more time if you sleep just 5 hours. Remember, your rest of the time will also be compromised. You sleep for 7 hours, wake up fully energetic. I prefer at 6 a.m. Work for 3 hours, that beautiful block of time. You will read so much, you will remember so much that by 9 a.m. you would have already done a lot of full day's work. Gratitude. Spend half an hour in evening. Think of positive things that have happened that day. Think of positive things that have happened the previous week or the previous year. Don't focus on the negativity. That half an hour is just point of positive thoughts. That half an hour, maybe take a walk in some garden in your neighborhood or your own lawn at your home, but focus. I practice it personally. Just for that half an hour, I focus on the positivity. I know what good things have happened that day. I know what things I've done in a good way. So maybe if you're a class 11 student, you've read a full chapter on that day. Just enjoy that half an hour, celebrate that day. But remember, no matter what I say, no idea will work until you do the work. See, you have to roll up your sleeves, read, do the work. Me saying that you have to read for 10 to 12 hours doesn't mean anything unless you actually read for 10 to 12 hours, right? So you already do this when you have an exam date just which is just out. Okay, you do all this work. See, every one of us, once the date sheets come in our MBBS, they put these labels on their doors: do not disturb, exam in progress, and you go on reading for 10 to 12 hours. So you have that ability. Just keep that bigger target in your mind for the rest of the days as well. You definitely will be able to read for at least 6 hours a day if you are focused on a particular target. And this thing is by and large the same thing whatever I said, that I prefer to have a good start to a day, a 3 hour block of 6 to 9 a.m. reading, and a good end to the day, maybe from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., which means your day, whatever has happened in the middle of the day, but it's sandwiched between two good periods. 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., beautiful 3 hour reading period. 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., 3 hour reading period. Whatever additional you have done in the day, that is a bonus for you. And everybody likes to get bonuses, so you can read in fact, even more during the daytime. So, and in fact, you start your day positively, you end your day positively. That itself is good. That keeps you mentally healthy. That keeps you more focused for the next days to come. I believe and I wish that these strategies help you in your studies in this lockdown or even otherwise as well, so that you do your exams with flying colors. If you do like the contents of this channel, subscribe, like, share the contents. Thank you.